A 5-game winning streak as we welcome you here to Sixers Postgame Live, brought to you by Curado Insurance. Amy Fiddle, Jim Lineman, Mark Jackson. First 5-game win streak since 2024 season, which is pretty remarkable. Certainly the first one, obviously, of the year, but a really nice way to cap off a back-to-back. It's always tough. I don't care that the Warriors are shorthanded. It's always tough, Coach, to play back-to-back games, especially when you're traveling east to west.
Yeah, and we did talk pre-game, Amy. The Warriors were shorthanded, but so were the Sixers. No Embiid, no Paul George. And to have the number of guys contribute the way they did, particularly given these circumstances, back-to-back game, I thought was really impressive. And it's we said that one of the things about winning last night, they continued their momentum. This team is feeling good about themselves right now, and rightly so.
And they should. I mean, they shot 45% from the field. Of the bench, everyone, there's so many, 8 different players in double figures, so everybody contributing in this one, Mark.
Absolutely. It was a good ways for everyone else, especially on the road. I've always had the philosophy that when teams become better when they're on the road, when they build chemistry, more so together. There's not many other distractions when it's your home base. So I love the fact that Sixers start off this road trip 2-0. Going into the next game, I think there's good momentum.
Yeah, they have the Lakers coming up on Thursday after the back-to-back, so they head back down to L.A. for that game. But we got to talk about VJ Edgecombe. Wow, what a turnaround from last night to tonight. He is the subject of our Colonial Nissan Game Changer. He was 1 of 11, 1 of 8 from 3, so 5 points last night, and he burst onto the scene to lead the Sixers with 25 points. And you look at his stat line, 11 of 20, Coach. 11 of 20, took 20 shots. You mentioned it in our pregame show. He has the confidence to keep taking those shots, and he did tonight.
Yeah, I really was listening to Nick Nurse in his post-game comments, and he was saying, yes, he shot the ball poorly. You identify that. But he played a pretty good game. And Nurse said one of the things he really liked is he didn't stop shooting. And when you asked me pre-game did I think, like last night would affect him, my honest response was no. This guy's a confident guy. When you go out there 82 times, of course you're going to have a bad shooting night here or there, but you let it go and you look forward to the next one. And obviously, looking at those numbers, that's exactly what VJ did.
I mean, it's remarkable. We know that about him because we've been watching him, obviously, in the 50-plus games at this point on the season, and now that they're 29 and 21, Mark. But, I mean, he's 20 years old. 20 years old, and he had a rough night last night. He still affects the game in many, many ways, but that's a rough shooting night for him, 1 of 11, and to bounce back and go 11 of 20. Where do you think that confidence comes from for him?
I think the confidence comes from his teammates. I think Maxey, Joel Embiid, and even Nick Nurse giving him that mental approach, like, be aggressive, man. Don't sit back and fall short to no one. I think him constantly hearing that allows him to play through mistakes. The best part is he is young, so he's pretty much getting on-the-job training. You can do all the training you want. You can do all the extra stuff you want. But if you're on the court at such a young age, surrounded by great veterans, you obsessively will get better just from being in that environment. Yeah. And he's in a great fit right here, great situation.
Yeah, he believes in himself and he believes what his teammates are telling him. And as Mark was just talking about, they're telling him to keep shooting. And he said, all right, I will, to the tune of 25 points and 11 of 20, which is pretty impressive. He was a plus 27, too, which is remarkable. That just shows you he really, all of his stuff usually doesn't show up in the box score, but tonight it really did show up in the box score. And he was one of a lot of guys. There was 8 players that scored in double figures. So certainly a lot of help to go around. Trendon Watford, the bench, with 37 points. Trendon Watford leading the bench unit. Really nice game to see from him with those 16.7 of 13. You can go down to Dembona, had some really nice buckets, as well as Quentin Grimes. So, Coach, this is a full complement when you have 8 players. You were just talking about this with Kate Scott. 8 players to have double figures in a game that you needed everybody to come to play.
Yeah, and I mean, we said right from the beginning of the year, collectively, and we're not the only ones, we like this bench. This bench is good. And one of the things I think that's a challenge is when you don't have the same, let's say, opportunities with minutes, shots attempted or usage, whatever you want to refer to it as, you still have to be able to go out and produce in like shorter periods of time. And I think there was a little period there where they didn't do that. And you had Joe and you had Paul George and Maxey, obviously gobbling up not just minutes, but opportunities. And you have to keep yourself involved and find ways to do it. And I think tonight was a good example of that.
Well, you mentioned no Joel, obviously sitting out on the second half of the back-to-back. No Paul George, as he is sitting out his 25-game suspension now with 23 games to go. Tyrese Maxey only made 3 field goals. Now, granted, he made all of his free throws. But on a game like this where you have no Joel Embiid, no Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey only has 3 field goals, and they win 113-94. Mark, what does that say about this team?
It says they got versatility. You know, Coach mentioned what? We like this bench. Now, with that being said, Golden State's philosophy tonight was take Maxey completely out of the picture. So they literally face guarded Maxey no matter where he was. But the good thing about that, it gave spacing to everyone else. It became 4-on-4. So when you take two guys get out the picture, which is Maxey and the defender, it leaves the lanes open for easier opportunity to score. So that's why a lot of these guys were so. You look at their numbers, it's very evenly spread amongst the rest of the 76ers because they took Maxey out. Now, with that being said, what a veteran move by Maxey not to truly force the issue.
Right.
We're winning by a large margin. All my teammates are really getting buckets, so let me let them eat.
You mentioned the lane was open to the tune of 54 points in the paint.
There you go.
That's almost double what the Warriors had. Let's check in now out in San Francisco with Nick Nurse on his team's 5th straight win.
We'll just kind of start with VJ's night. Obviously, being able to bounce back after not shooting the ball so well last night in LA.
Yep. Yeah, he obviously was really good. I thought he took it to some spots and vaulted up and made a bunch of shots. He's got the ability to do it. We don't see it that often, but kind of presented itself tonight. I thought he got us off to a great start as well, just playing confidently. Obviously, they took the ball out of Tyrese's hands the whole night, so other guys had to step up, and they did a good job, him leading the way.
That's what I was going to ask, because they were obviously trapping Tyrese really, really hard. Just how did you guys sort of approach that and maybe keep gaining on that as the game went on?
Yeah, I've said this to you many times. We work on this stuff a lot. The double teaming stuff, because Joe sees it so much and Tyrese sees it when Joe doesn't play. So we spend a lot of time on it, and it's good to see the time, get a return on that, And I just think, again, the guys just made good plays. We didn't turn it over much, and we kept kind of finding the right guys. And even when we didn't, or if we did get a good shot, didn't make it, we were so hard, when you were there in rotations, it was harder to block us out, so we were on the glass a lot, which was great.
Speaking of the glass, you guys had a huge rebounding advantage. I guess what has kind of changed recently after the stretch where you guys were getting pounded on the boards a little bit?
Well, I think we've probably playing bigger lineups for one thing, but I just think, again, that's obviously different games, different opponents present different things sometimes, but also we have tried to emphasize showing a lot of film on how to get better and practicing it quite a bit and stuff like that when we can.
Coach, when did you just get sold on VJ? Like, when did you know that he was different?
It didn't take very long. I think that, early 4 or 5 games into the season, you could just see his incredible composure and just his versatility. These guys hear me say this all the time. He does a little bit of everything. He can handle, he can shoot a little, he rebounds, he can get to some non-paint two pull-ups, play some one-on-one, and block shots. He'll guard. He kind of does all those things at a kind of a above average level. So that's good. Yeah.
Is that not typical for you to fall in love with a rookie that fast?
I don't know.
Based on your past?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I've had some good ones. We've had McCain last year was rolling. All those guys at Toronto were rookies, rookies at one time. Scotty and OG and Freddie and Pascal and I mean, I knew he was going into the starting lineup when we drafted him for sure. Yeah, so
because
just because I kind of believe in that. I just thought he was a talent enough that we had to go. And these guys will know that the first thing I said was his successful season is going to be based on how many minutes he plays, and we're trying to play him as much as we can so we can just speed that learning curve up. Yeah.
The second unit, Trendon, Adem, Quentin, like what kind of lift did they give you guys in the second quarter? It kind of seemed like you guys went on that run when they entered the game.
Yeah, all of them. Throw the whole group in there. Obviously, I think T. Watt has given us some versatility that we've talked about. He'll handle. He can get a post-up bucket here and there. He was really making good reads out of the double teams as well. Bona was bouncy tonight. A lot of dunks. A lot of shots, effective shots at the rim. Yeah, it's good.
Just one more VJ question. I mean, after last night, is that even something that you dissect it on film? Do you say anything, or do you just say, hey, we got a game tomorrow, or I trust that he's just going to be able to kind of mentally flip the switch and be able to do that tonight?
I did call the first few plays of the game for him tonight, just to say we're going to VJ. I mean, I figured he would bounce back. You know, he's a really good player, and really good players have a night that they're disappointed in. The focus rises a little bit. I figured I didn't know he was going to be that good, but I figured he'd be ready to go, and just wanted to let him know we believe in him. So we called some early for him. Yeah.
Nick, this is 5 wins in a row now. I guess what's kind of begun to click maybe a little bit for you guys?
Just pretty good energy, pretty good effort. Just doing a lot. I think again defensively we're trying pretty hard. Not perfect. We've executed a lot of schemes. Tonight it was pretty straight up stuff, but we did a pretty good job on it. And I think again, I keep saying if we just get the ball where it's supposed to go or what's open, hit the open man consistently, pretty good shape. We had one really bad stretch there in the second quarter where we just drove it into a traffic jam, right? About 5 possessions in a row, but the rest of the night we pretty much got it to where it needed to go. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks, Coach. Yeah.
All right, everybody. I like that he was saying that we wanted to get him going, meaning VJ Edgecombe, after a rough night. He had a lot of confidence in him, and it was the 12th 20-point game of his rookie season for VJ Edgecombe. And that says a lot, I would think, Mark, as a young player, for your coach to have that belief in you right from the jump.
Absolutely. When that does nothing but build the momentum. And like Coach said, it speeds the learning process up and the development process up when, you're allowed to play through mistakes, but given the responsibility to go out and take those mistakes and make those opportunities happen. When you got a coach that believes in you like that, and I love what he said, we try to play him as much minutes because he deserves it. Nothing's given, everything's earned. But when you show over and over, you do the little things, you give him more leeway to be successful.
Coach, when you were out there running the sidelines and you had a rookie that was struggling, how much more did you really want to get him back involved?
Well, Nick Nurse just gave you the plan. You express confidence in the player. And I will say this, that the one difference with VJ from last night to tonight, yes, he played, a lot better, shot the ball a lot better, but a much higher percentage of his shots were other than three-pointers.
Yeah.
Last night I thought he predicated too much of his success on the three. And when your outside shot's not going down, there's an old phrase from way, way back, you must find ways to get in the basket. Get out on the break, drive and get into the defender to get to the foul line. So you experience the sense of the ball going in the basket. And if you rely solely on three-point shots on a night where you're not making your three, then all of a sudden you have a tough night.
Yeah, and he was able to bounce back in a big way. Didn't necessarily make a lot of threes, but made a lot of buckets and was driving. And as we mentioned, the points in the paint, they really almost doubled up the Warriors on that front. We're also going to check in. Well, there it is, everybody, on everybody else's night. The bench is nice.
Familiar.
Yeah, I love that song. 5 in a row right now. The Sixers get their 5th win out there now in San Francisco before heading back to L.A. We're going to talk a little bit more about this one, though, before we move on. We'll check in on Quentin Grimes, the rest of the bench, as well as Tyrese Maxey coming up here on Sixers Postgame Live, brought to you by Curado Insurance.